Hi, have you ever wondered how we came to be? Or who exactly am I? All your wonders could be answered here today. This is Alisa.
Hi, I'm Alisa.
She graduated top of her class and became an anthropologist. Later in her life, she discovered while working in the lands of La Salle the self.
I discovered the self.
But what exactly is anthropology? Anthropology is the study of people throughout the world, their evolutionary history, how they behave, communicate, and socialize with one another. It focuses on understanding the human condition in its cultural aspects. Anthropology is often described as the art of making the familiar exotic and the exotic familiar, and the most humanistic of the sciences and the most scientific of the humanities. But what exactly is the self?
Self and identity are separated in anthropology. There are two implications of the self, mainly focused in this field. The first one is the Western self, which is defined as autonomous and egocentric because of its tendency to lean towards its own goals. And the second is the non Western self, the direct opposite of its counterpart, which is defined as sociocentric because it is driven by the social construct exposed to. The category that you shall fall into depends on the social construct influenced by the chosen identities shared with others. Now, we talk about how identities are shared with other people because of the culture that shapes the beliefs, values, and attitudes of society. But how are we unique as individuals if we share the same identities with others? The uniqueness of individuals lies in its capability to manage contradicting identities. A person can have multiple identities and act in situations that wouldn't really make sense for each identity's separate values, if it is seen as black and white. If a religious man was to attend a non religious wedding for a cousin, he would still identify himself as religious while still remaining a cousin to the non religious individual. If a Muslim were to witness a Catholic prayer in a Catholic school silently out of respect, he would still remain as a Muslim and a student in the said Catholic school. This is possible through the reflexive tendencies of the self to adapt to its situation. How an individual acts in situations involving contradictory identities requires a concept of a self as it emerges from the actions of individuals that is capable of managing their respectively shared identities. But what makes the self the same person if the said person changes depending on the environment or situation he is in? Despite the contradicting identities that battles within an individual depending on the circumstances, something must remain the same within the self for it to be the same person. That something shall be the distinction between the self and everything else.
So, with all that said, what makes us unique? That's 5 minutes. See you next time.